Tamar Goldman, you know me. I was dumbstruck when I read of the frivolous positions tucked into the reorganization plan. All I could say for 2 days was, how dare you? You have eliminated positions serving critical core functions of government. Police service lower, as I said before, than a respected police chief's minimum requirement, and even below that of your hired management consultants. The emergency medical services coordinator, who is in a literally life-saving position, already gone. Efforts to lay off half of the city's employees who do the actual work, keep the city vehicles and buildings in good repair, checking new construction to see that it's safe. And what do you add instead in this time of supposed austerity? 2 PR guys, a secretary to do your communications, adding another layer between you and your constituents, and giving you a perk that councilmen in better times took care of themselves. I hate to say this, if you are overworked, it's always you always have the right to resign. I teach Animal Farm, or George Orwell's Animal Farm. In it, the animals complain that the men do no work. They don't give milk or lay eggs or plow fields. These positions that you're proposing to add are positions that do not contribute to the work of the city. They're not the eggs or milk or plowing. They're frills. They're not the protection or the life-saving or the repair. They're frills. Again, how dare you tell the nuts and bolts people that you can't afford them and hire positions that we don't currently have? Nothing you have done so far could say as clearly as this hiring that you are just spitting in the eye of your employees and wallowing in your union-busting power, that this has nothing to do with fiscal responsibility. I'll quote from the police chief. The council, he wrote, and this just shows it. I hate to use this word like Perry Valentine, but I'm quoting, in essence lied as they created the appearance of a crisis in order to appear as the white knight to a narrow band of political followers. The members acted as if they're owners of the business that is the municipal government of the city of Costa Mesa, but they are not. I'll stop there. It gets worse. It gets angrier. You cannot do this without completely exposing yourselves as a political agenda.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is a great reorganization. It actually consolidates and saves money and makes things more efficient. I got to tell you, I listened to all the comments and I often agree with some of the speakers. I can't agree on this one. There's 2 guys here, Mr. Lobdell, Mr. Joyce. I don't think any 2 guys work harder in the city. When number one, communications. I mean, it's never been more effective and it's never been clearer. I've been in the city 26 years for everybody's, as a reminder to everybody. I never knew what was going on, including when Jay and Sandy were in city council. We were developers and we would try and figure out what was happening just by the paperwork in the back. And of course, I don't want to infer that they could have changed it because computers have changed things and information has changed things. But I think the addition of Mr. Lobdell in terms of communications and transparency, and while I don't always agree with him politically, he's one of the hardest workers I've ever met. I find it bizarre, not to borrow a word from one of my, to use a word that sometimes gets used here. I find it strange that people would say that that's not an important position. It's critical. And as a resident, I would appreciate it whether I'm on council or not on council in the future. I would be pretty upset if it ever got removed. I think bringing him on board at the cost we're talking about here is cheap for somebody with his skill set. And frankly, I'm wondering why he's coming in as low as he is with what he's made in the past and who he is. As far as Mr. Joyce, again, another gentleman that brings a lot to the table. And I've, again, being in the community, not really understanding, being underwhelmed by the events that we've had in the city, being underwhelmed by everything from the ability. I mean, 2 years ago, I asked our former city manager for information on the golf course, and it took 9 months. And then I asked why the rates were the same for residents and non-residents, and it took 2 months. And then at the end of the day, we wanted to figure out how to increase revenue, and I think it went up $3. You know, you go in there today. The golf course is a great asset. It needs to be promoted. That is an example of something that needs to be promoted. It needs to be looked at. Revenue needs to be enhanced in different ways. It takes somebody to be able to do that. Concerts in the park, track meets, marathons, all those things. Those things didn't happen in the past very efficiently because we didn't have anybody in charge. And those are what I call youth attractants, family attractants. So those are key elements to a city's vitality and the way we work. Tamar, I hear what you're saying, but I would love to sit down with you again. I think we're going to do that. We need to talk about why we do what we do, and your opinion is very important to me, and I have an immense amount of respect for you. But these two gentlemen, I have a hard time having them maligned because they're the best bargain around. And while we're talking about it, is there any way, Mr. Hatch? I know we have the head of our union here. Is there any way we can get the air conditioner fixed in your office? It's been 7 months, and it still gets up to about 90 degrees every day. Is there? And Helen's out there. Is there a way, Helen, you can connect some nodes to get the air conditioner fixed in the city CEO's office?
Mayor.
It's it is warm. So if we have a guy that can solve that, that'd be great.
Mr. Nagavi.
Mayor, that switch was added a couple of weeks ago and it's already operational.
No,